Yo, 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 yo. What the is up, fight fans? It's your man 3K the Boss, aka Mr. Two Hands Up. Fah Fah. You already know what it is. I know it's been a while, but we back. What's popping with everybody in the whole world? Sorry I'm late. I got a little distracted. I was working on a video. Um, yeah. But we here though. So salute to all, you know what I'm saying? Salute to the whole Reaper gang, man. I done miss y'all, man. It's been a minute, man. Let's pop off, man. Let's talk some shit. You know what I mean? Your boy been in the trenches, you dig? Your boy been in the trenches, but I'm back. I'm back like cook crack, like I never left. Spartan, what's goody? Hope everything good with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I got to watch a little boxing yesterday, man. I got to catch that Marcus Brown versus Artur Beterbiev thing. And that was exactly the way I thought it was gonna go, man. But it was real fun in the weigh-ins and stuff like that on the live, chopping it up with the guys on the Top Rank Live, all the guys in there. I believe shit, T Street Controversy was in there, Sliding Counter was in there. It was a few people in there. Oh shit, I think Johnny Boy back. As a matter of fact, I think I saw Johnny Boy in there. And you know what I'm saying? Regardless of whatever Johnny Boy said or whatever he said, you know what I'm saying? Hey, if God can forgive, you know what I'm saying? So can I. I ain't trying to make friends or nothing like that, but salute to that dude. Um, yeah, man. So yeah, everybody, had a pretty, split kind of thought process on what they believe is going to happen. And for me, it was pretty simple, pretty elementary. Easy as 1 + 1 = 2. And I mean, that 1 + 1 = better beef. Whooping Marcus Brown's ass. Just another PBC prospect, just another PBC guy going over there, you know what I'm saying? Just to, hop on his bicycle, get beat up and get dropped, man. Like, what more can I say for all of those individuals that were, crediting Marcus Brown movement? Here's the thing about movement. If all you're doing is moving around and you don't have a punch to, keep a guy up off of you, what good is your movement? How is that movement going to benefit you? How are you going to survive a freaking 12-round clash, a total of 36 fucking minutes with a guy with a sturdy chin and heavy hands who will continuously stalk you? He can only fight you one way, flat-footed, will stalk the shit out of you and continuously stalk you, kind of like Isaac Cruz did Gervonta Tank Davis, but the level of consistency, the IQ, and all of that, he's just going to patiently stalk you all night. You know what I mean? Eat your body up, eat your food, and then eventually your legs are going to give out. Then where them legs go? Where are those legs at? Where are those legs? Where's that movement everybody said he was going to have or he was going to be able to use and all of those things? After round 4, I believe it left that fast because dude just stalked him down and just beat him all the way up, man. Like, it's just good to see Artur back in the ring. Using the skill set, 36-year-old out there trying pummeling people like he's 25. I enjoyed it, because like I said, man, a lot of people, and believe it or not, there's a lot of these PBC hopefuls running around out here. Like, I don't know what is up with fans right now, and like they're hoping their drive that the PBC will come through and they're just gonna win, just impossible fights. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying it's impossible to beat a guy, but I mean, shit, at the end of the day, it's like, this is Marcus Brown we talking about here. The same guy, John Pascal, pulled out a freaking wig and pulled out a rubber chicken and said, are you going to fight like a girl? Are you going to hold like a girl, fight like a man? Are you going to run like a chicken? All of the above, threw it all together, mashed that shit up in a press conference and just put it out there. And like, we watch this guy fall around, falling on the floor, getting beat up by John Pascal, grabbing this man's legs and all of that shit. And who honestly believes that this guy was going to come out there and do something that was going to convince me that he was going to beat Artur Beterbiev? I'm just saying, boxing, like, look, you can like a promotional outfit all you want. I'm not hating on you, Slide Tendencies. What's goody, Box with Diamonds? What's goody, Mr. T? What's popping with you, bro? I'm not hating on your preferences. I'm not hating on who you like or who you might fancy to beat whoever. But look, bro, don't let your tribalism just expose, you know what I'm saying, your stupidity, you know what I mean, in all its totality. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you really like who's gonna bet $1 Like realistically, who is realistically going to bet $1 on Marcus Brown beating Artur Beterbiev? But I guess there are those people in the world that are hopeful, really, really hopeful. But God bless the stupid as well. God bless the stupid as well, man. Man, he's a gritty dude, man. And it was just like, yo, you could just see during the fight, right? Like you could just see during the fight that everything he was hitting Artur with was just pissing him off. All the, you know what I'm saying, like the constant little quick jabs and stuff like that, the little quick nippy shots, and then jumping on the inside, grabbing and hugging and stuff like that, and then trying to, shoot the shots underneath with the uppercut and the clinch and shit like that. All of that shit was just rubbing him the wrong way. It was just like, dude, I'm just waiting you fatigue out a little bit and open up, and I'm just gonna fuck you up, like for real. And then that moment when they clash heads again, that motherfucker said, enough is enough. I'm going to whoop the living shit out of you. Like literally, bro, enough is enough. I'm tired of this guy. I'm ready to get out of here. So I'm about to work the shit out of him from this 4 to fucking 8 or 4 to 9. God damn. Like it was like, yo, from round 4 to round 9, it was really ominous. It was a really ominous picture in the ring. It was kind of like, when Undertaker on WWE and some shit come down with Paul Bearer and shit, and he's holding the fucking urn and shit like that, and it's all dark and shit, and it's all fucked up because the Undertaker about to rise out of fucking casket. It kind of felt like that from round 4 to round fucking 8. Like I'm just like, yo, this dude is just getting his ass beat, dragged and beat, and then like, yo, he's like, yo, his body it hurts him so much to move that I just want to lay up against the ropes, and I'm going to try to, propose this whole, use this whole rope-a-dope shit. Like, yo, I don't even know if he was rope-a-dope, and I just think he was doping the whole time, like, for real. It wasn't no rope and wasn't no dope. It was just dope. Like, he was just stuck. Like, yo, the body shots had him stuck. Like, Artur is hitting on a whole nother level. So I can see why. There's certain people in the world that prefer, Alunga Mukabu. But I'm just saying, hey, call me petty. Looks like Munguia's manager says that they got no fight contract from Andre. Do you think Andre is capping? Man, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know too much about that situation, Andre Munguia, but I do know I have made it very clear in a video. I'm trying to think of the title it was that I did it on or whatever, but I kind of like went on a rant about Oscar De La Hoya, how him and Jaime Munguia were completely dismissing Demetrius Andrade as a champion at 160 pounds. Like, they didn't want to fight him. Like, they were basically saying that Andrade shouldn't even, like they didn't even want Andrade to have an opportunity to fight Triple G. So I'm sitting there listening to this shit, and I'm just like, okay, so why would you care about this man and this man opportunities? Because, you know what I'm saying, he got to eat just like y'all got to eat. And there are plenty of other people, you know what I'm saying, there are plenty of people that Jaime Munguia have access to, regardless of whether if, Demetrius Andre had that on his plate. So I sat there and I thought about it for a second. I thought about the movement. I thought about the hand speed. I thought about the awkward, you know what I'm saying? I thought about the awkward stance in the in and out game. Thought about the heavy uppercuts and all of that shit. And I'm thinking about all the lack of thereof that is Jaime Munguia. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, yo, this is nothing more than a game of reverse psychology where we're trying to pin the thought processes on the people. Like, Demetrius Andrade and Triple G would be a boring fight, when in all actuality, those two styles clashing, it doesn't really make a boring fight. If you're really a fight fan, nothing about that says boring. What that said to me was Jaime Munguia and Golden Boy were positioning themselves to get a fight with Triple G, throw that type of bullshit on Demetrius Andrade, because they knew if Demetrius Andrade got a hold of Triple G and he won that belt, they never stood a chance of getting the belt at 160 pounds. Unless they try to go over to Japan, maybe. But Triple G is already on top of that. So the way I looked at it is, like, y'all motherfuckers is trying to, figure out your only way to get a belt outside of the fact that Demetrius Andrade is the Achilles heel and the one thing that'll fucking stop you. So I don't know. I can't say if Demetrius Andrade would duck or wouldn't duck, because from where I stand, this motherfucker consistently calling out Canelo, calling out all the Charlos and shit like that. Billy Joe Saunders jumped out of fight with that man. If anything, somebody got to show me who ain't ducking him. You know, because you know we have a consistent, you know, people are consistently putting these negative connotations on individuals. Like, yo, they call him Dude Andre, they call him all of these things. But in all actuality, the kid can box. He can box. And he's got a really good chance of fucking up a lot of people that he gets in the ring with. So we can say whatever the fuck we want. You know, we're trying to gloat when, you know, we're romanticizing about other fighters and all of that other shit's going on. But at the end of the day, the motherfucker can box. And who is trying to fight him at the end of the day? And my thing is this. If I'm Demetrius Andre, why is Demetrius Andre sending an offer to fucking Jaime Munguia? Why isn't Jaime Munguia sending an offer to Andre? So it's all fucking cornball shit to me, man. Like, I've just come to the point where when dealing with boxing, you got to deal with it like this. You just got to completely understand that nothing is going to take place unless it's set in stone and written. Unless you already know it's out there, unless you're getting it, then you know not to invest any fucking time in it. Because if you invest time into talking about romanticizing and fantasizing about fights that are never going to happen, let's just put it in perspective. What happens? You hate the sport more, and more importantly, you get gassed out on it. You get completely gassed out on boxing. Who wants to talk about it? Like, really, like, if I'm like, I've talked so much about Charlo and Andre that yo, I have no stance on that situation no more. I've talked so much about Crawford and Errol Spence, like there's not another video I can make on it anymore. I've talked so much about shit, fucking Oscar like I ain't got on Oscar Valdez too hard yet, but he need to get it. I like Oscar Valdez and goddamn Shakur Stevens. I'm tired of talking about all of this shit because clearly it's right there. It's right in front of our faces. It should be available to us as fans because that's who purchased this shit. That's who watches this shit. That's who pay all the attention to it. It's supposed to be available to us as fans, but in all actuality, is it available to us though? These fighters don't have shit going on, but is it available to us though? Like, you know, I'm so tired of hearing about mandatory opposition and shit of that nature. Look, the only time I favor the mandatory and the only time I'm a big fan of the mandatory is when the mandatory happens to work in the position of where, okay, there was a fighter that was being ducked and we've been trying to see this motherfucker fight him for a millennium. Until he's forced in that position where he has to defend or vacate, that's the only way, that's the only reason, you know, the mandatory position really matters to me. And if those sanctioning bodies don't fucking usher those guys in those positions for those fights that happen, then how much attention should I pay to that? Honestly, I could give like boxing is really at a point to where really, and to be perfectly honest, and I've never lied to you guys before, I could give two fucks about it. Honestly, I could give two fucks about boxing. Love it to death. Always watch it, always entertained by it. But like, let's be serious here. I'm watching fights that don't give me a narrative consistently. We pretty much genuinely have an understanding on what's going to take place. Sly Tennessee, salute with $5 super chat. He says, Jake Paul straight stole the Reaper's mask. Look at the press. Oh, I'm gonna check him out. He's a fuck boy. He's a fuck boy, but I appreciate him for the casual eyes. And honestly, you know, it's pretty damn sad to where it's like this is the trend now. You know, the Jake Paul era is among us. Like, is that not weird for any of us to say? Like, yo, the Jake Paul era is among us. Like, I've had somebody, you know what I'm saying, tell me that somebody I'm very fond of as well, tell me that Jake Paul probably has, you know, top 10. It's probably top 10 out of all, you know, out of the fighters in mental fortitude. That right there broke my heart. That broke my fucking heart. Think about it. Like, you know, we're comparing, you know, the mental fortitude of Jake Paul to, you know, professional fighters. I mean, this is where the game has come. And, you know, shout out to that person who sent me that tweet, because I really fuck with him. Hope Wilder is remembered for ducking 150 million. I don't think he really is. I don't think anybody brings it up now. I think people stop bringing that shit up after the first week. You know what I'm saying? Cloak and daggers, cloak and mirrors, cloak and daggers. I mean, shit, people consistently, try to throw something on top of that so you wouldn't pay attention to it. And I mean, like, look, it's like, look, we can consistently, focus our attention on 150 million, but let's not focus on 100 plus million. Let's not focus on two career defining, life changing, fan. Also, in a fan's life, it's life changing. Events that never came to fruition, but all we got is a whole bunch of air hustling. Straight air hustling and ear muffling. Like, for real. All dudes did was talk about a bunch of situations that never came to fruition. And I'm not putting it on the one guy, not putting it on the European guy, because he came with his bag of tricks. He did what he had to do, fell short, came back, went back and got it, and still entertained the conversation. Like, it has to be, I think the conversation has to be had when we sit here and we think about these sanctioning bodies, and we think about, these so-called Ring magazine, the belt that's supposed to be so prestigious. We think about these so-called boxing rankings that are out in the world, and all of them are distorted, mixed up. You don't get a clear understanding of who's really what, because we've never really got a clear understanding on what's really what in boxing anyway. Feel what I'm saying? Band of Day salute, homie. Yeah, man, it has been a minute, man. I have been away for a minute. Shit, I think probably about a week since I've delivered any content, or a couple days. I damn sure ain't edited nothing about 10 days, but got that taken care of. Got that taken care of. You know what I'm saying? Just been busy, man. Just been busy, and life is fucked. Like life is great, but life is fucked. Let's be 100% honest here. You know what I'm saying? Like, boxing could possibly be like one of the last things on a lot of people's mind, though we, entertain it to find some form of escapism. But in the escapism, where lies the competition? Like, people kind of like got to in there, kind of in their bag with me a little bit, because my stance when it came to Vasily Lomachenko versus Comey. And my thing was, Lomachenko versus Comey isn't exciting, nor was Masaroshi Nakatani versus Lomachenko. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Because we already rate the guy on a certain level. And, going around seeing Lomachenko, have to engage in a bunch of triangle theories that really make no sense with guys that have already been beaten, battered, or been in a freaking war that is taking tolls on their body, or guys that just lack in certain areas of skill, or say guys that we've watched go toe-to-toe with Ray Beltran for 8 rounds, no matter if he floored him 4 times or not. He went toe-to-toe with that guy, and it's like, he's slow. He doesn't really have movement and things of that nature. It doesn't really get me up like a cup of coffee on a Monday morning before work. You get what I'm saying? Like, so for me, it's just like, I demand more out of my viewership. As I tell everyone all the time, I demand more out of my viewership as well as everybody else does. So for me, it's like, yo, I'm not going to watch this guy just completely embarrass some guy who's going to literally be one-dimensional as a fucking basic math problem, as Richard Comey is going to be to a Vasily Lomachenko. I think that there's only 2 situations that Lomachenko should be wanting to involve himself in after having his so-called showcase fight with Masaroshi Nakatani. Lomachenko's so fucking good that Masaroshi Nakatani wasn't shit anyway, but it's still a showcase fight for a Loma. So I think that all of those warm-ups should have been for, like, yo, I want to hear, like, yo, I want to fight Devin Haney next. Well, I want to hear, like, yo, we've heard he wants to fight Tio, but we know Tio is fucking fighting his lung right now. So they say. So at the end of the day, for me, I want to see Loma excel on the levels to where, people constantly, champion for this guy. Since the beginning of time, we've heard people champion for Lomachenko and where he stands in the boxing world as a professional. But really, we've yet to really see, all of the things that, he could blossom into being. Pro career short, jumped a lot of feet as far as accolades early, but we haven't got to see really what we need to see. So I just feel like, all of the conversation should be, hey, man, Loma versus the best, because Loma is one of the best. He's one of the best he got to offer right now. So I ain't really trying to see him run up against flat tires and abuse people, man. It's almost like, yo, you watching a bully fucking pick on a little kid, and it's just like he's frail. He ain't bringing nothing to the fucking table, man. And yo, you just ain't really trying to see none of that. So for me, it's just like, bro, I just think that, Lomachenko best offers is a couple offers, and if dude ain't trying to fight him, I know a dude that is, and that's exciting to me. That's exciting to me. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Two Hands, any projection versus Parker versus Zoro. I think, man, look, man, I've never put the type of emphasis that other people put into Joseph Parker, man. I think he's a pretty much, you know what I'm saying? He's got basic, you know what I'm saying, like B- level movement. I think his movement is decent. I think Joe has a decent jab or whatever, but I don't think Joe has any thump. I don't think Joe has any pop. I don't think Joe brings anything to the table that should be alarming to Chisora. And I think Chisora is so well seasoned in, what he does as far as, walking you down, having, not having like the craziest power punch, but just extremely fucking strong, just a very strong guy. So, just being able to, see Chisora get in there, cut him off at the angles, walk him down, hook off to the body, come upstairs, push him, rough him up, make it ugly, and things of that nature. I think Chisora can find a whole lot of success, and I think Chisora should be victorious as he was in the first fight, and I think we've had enough of Chisora, getting the short end of the stick. I think Chisora knows what the short end of the stick feels like. Pause. Unfortunately, that sounds kind of bad, but knowing, what Chisora's career being, what Chisora's career is, man, like that motherfucker ain't scared of nothing, man. He ain't going out there with no fears and no, apprehensions, man. He's just going out there to do what he does best, man. And I'm considerably happy for the event, and I think, it's good to still have a personality like Chisora around. So shout out to Parker and shout out to Chisora for this fight. It's just Joseph Parker I've never thought too much of, and honestly, I thought he lost his belt. I thought he lost the WBO. Honestly, I felt like that WBO title fight with Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz should have came a lot earlier, because I felt like Andy Ruiz beat him in New Zealand, but like, hey, they were in New Zealand. You know what I'm saying? I think Parker's going to stop Tizzy in the late rounds. He could. He really could. He's got the boxing. He's got the boxing ability. He's got the acumen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take that away from him. I will say, you know what I'm saying, his level of movement is, you know what I'm saying, like a couple of steps under Tony Yoka's, but it's good. You know what I'm saying? So it's good enough for him to, be high IQ enough to just keep rangy, and Joseph Parker has a tendency to make it a boring fight. He can definitely make it a boring fight. Just with his intangibles, he has the ability to make it a boring fight and make, Chisora make Chisora walk him down on a straight line and just consistently chase him with hooks. But he's like a half a mile behind, Usyk as far as movement, and you know what I'm saying? He's like a tenth of a mile behind fucking Yoka. My man said Canelo's ducking. Canelo been ducking. Canelo been ducking his whole career, but everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. Great fighter. I'll give you that, but I just don't place him in that all-time. I just don't place him in that all-time great bracket where, as far as Mexican fighters are concerned, like I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe the nigga tougher than Marquez, man. Greater career than Marquez, absolutely, but I don't think he's tougher than Marquez. I think that he's had. I think Lomachenko's had the ability. Excuse me one second. I think he's had the ability and the availability to do whatever the hell he wants. And when you're a fighter and you got those luxuries to do whatever the hell you want, you got the ability to maneuver around, pick and choose the type of opponents you want, fight who you want to fight, and the excuses that are going to be made based off of, the very, very sizable fan base that you have, that all plays into the abilities to be able to kick your feet up and do certain shit. It's kind of like LeBron James with all of that fucking traveling he be doing, and referees don't ever call it. It's just like, some things, people are willing to skip over when it comes to others' career, but then measure them up to the GOATs. but not even have to work that hard. Not put in half of the defensive work as a Michael Jordan, or you know what I'm saying, or half of the grunt work as a fucking Julio Cesar, Chavez, and shit like that. You know, not even go through half of the wars that you know what I'm saying would phase him and blaze him. One thing I say about Julio Cesar, man, that motherfucker wasn't afraid to fight you know what I'm saying, the Pernell Whitakers and the Meldrick Taylors of the world. You ain't ever gonna see Canelo fight them type of niggas, man. And that's a fact. The 2 times he fought him, he got way the fuck up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I mean, Laura torched him and his brother. You know what I'm saying? He gets way the fuck up out of there. You know what I'm saying? After Laura, he got way the fuck up out of there when it comes to that. But do I dismiss him as a fighter? Absolutely not. I got all the love for him in the world as a fighter. He's just not my favorite, and I'm not going to put him in the pantheon of greatness of everybody else when I feel like, you know what I'm saying, if it was born or if it was easy, you know what I'm saying, just go ahead and fill up the arena and get it done just so you can quiet the mouths of the people, you know, because that's what the people want to see. What you providing the people isn't necessarily what the people want to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you can put a belt in front of everything, bro, but it don't make it a great spectacle, fam. Like when I say he came up short in in his biggest moments, people criticize me for that, but I'm not a hater of him. I just think that, you know what I'm saying, that his body of work is just a little shaky for me, man. His body of work is filled with dudes that, you know, that have the ability, you know, to get awed, to like get overwhelmed by the presence, the glow that is Canelo. They get overwhelmed by the spectacle. They get overwhelmed by the, you know what I'm saying, they purse. They get overwhelmed by a lot of things, and really they not in there with like win or lose. As soon as a hook touch their body or a hook touch their jaw that they don't like, these are the certain type of champions that's going to look at that shit like, well, shit. You know what I'm saying? At this point, man, fuck it. I don't give a fuck about giving them all anyway. I got the bread I want. Like that nigga, the nigga cherry picks and he picks and choose harder than, you know what I'm saying, a majority of fighters. So I find it funny that Floyd gets all of this criticism for necessarily picking and choosing, but I've never seen Floyd dismiss his style, and I've never seen Floyd not go back to a rematch where people say was sus, but Canelo gets all of the passes in the world for that shit. That's why I be talking about the hypocrisy in boxing, and that's why I be gassed out on it. Like I took 4 months off of Twitter for stupidity. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I really don't got time to get like, you know, super involved with like arguing with people that just don't want to, you know, just like visualize shit for what it really is. And like I feel like there's a lot of channels too that praise Canelo to no fault, but they would never criticize him. And these are some of the problems that are with boxing, but that's just my opinion, you know. But salute to the guy in his career. He's made a hell of a career for his family. He's made a hell of a career for himself. He's got accolades out the ass. All I'm saying is, though, when it came time to show and fucking prove, where was the man at, though? Where was the man at? And the moment you go crazy arguing for him, that's how you know what I'm saying, it don't sit, certain shit that happen with it don't sit well. Says, I like Parker. I think he's underrated, but needs to be more aggressive. I see him retiring Tizzy tonight. Man, like I like to see, man. I don't know. I don't know if anything will retire Derek Chisora besides, you know what I'm saying, like the lower body region, like having being paralyzed from the waist down or something like that. Derek Chisora just seems like he gonna ride this shit till the wheels fall off. Unfortunately, I think somebody might have to retire him in the sense of like, yo, sit your ass down, like. But yeah, I'm definitely watching the fight. Out of a lot of things that have been taking place, one to look forward to. Uh, like, give me a break. Like Woodley and Paul doesn't interest me in the slightest. Um, you know, I have no hate towards it. It's boxing, but it's just funny to me that this is a constant now. I never thought that we would get to this point to where we would be going out our ways to try to rank a guy like this. You know, gotta know what you thought on that Daenerys body shot. It was a beautiful body shot, man. Daenerys at the age of 37, man, just keep showing why he's a renaissance man and a hell of a Cinderella story. Really, really liked Daenerys, and the fact that he even went out his way to goddamn Yo, when you translate for a guy and then knock him out with a body shot, you're a hell of a fucking guy. I really don't know what to say after that. Like, you translate for a guy, you know what I'm saying? You helped him get the words out of his mouth to take the words right out of his mouth. God damn. That's something. That's something to see. I hope everybody caught that. Too many sanctioning bodies, too many belts, too many weight divisions makes ducking easier. Yeah, man, it's a lot. It's a lot of things to hide behind. Like for real, you strip all of them and just have one, and then you have a bunch of individuals climbing to the mountaintop. That's the way you get rid of it. Make it, make it and make it definitive. Make it to the point to where it can't be denied. Like every sanctioning body, I mean, excuse me, every weight class, why don't we adhere to one belt? Why does there have to be four? Why does there have to be four Infinity Stones in every division? And why do we consistently? And there needs to be a ruling, like for real. There has to be some type of commission that governs, you know what I'm saying, the sport that is boxing. I guarantee a majority of the corruption that we see in the sport, it'll be able to fizzle out through the back doors. I think that, the drug testing would be a lot more rigorous. I think that, it would do more of a service to the sport, and I think it'll flourish. I think the gates will get bigger. I think the competition will expand in such a way that you have no way but to you can't deny it, because if you take away a maximum of three belts, leave the one, and then you look at the individuals and then the one individual is holding. You know that he has to go through a consistent level of some real heavy bullshit to hold that. So, like for me, it's just like, man, I feel like in our sport, in the sport that we happen to champion for, LAC 74 salute. Um, I'm just cooling my guy. I just feel like in the sport that we champion for, it would do nothing but make it better. I don't see how, taking away belts would hurt the sport, because honestly you would get more answers from the sport. And then we need like a chain of command to where the sanctioning bodies, they need to start serving and working underneath one rule. I mean, you can have, you can have a ruling per sanctioning body that doesn't necessarily coincide with the next sanctioning body's ruling, but I feel like it should be definitive in the sense that all of the sanctioning bodies should work and conform in a sense to where, okay, if there's a fight, there nothing should be able to stand in the way from that. And I think that should be mandated as far as champions and all of that shit. And I feel like, all the little baby belts and all of that shit should be thrown out of the window. Just have an interim and have a champion, and kill all the rest of the bullshit. An interim, a champion, and then whoever holds the interim, they're mandatory as well. Like there shouldn't, and then the number one contender underneath of that becomes a mandatory through the span of the course of that year, through the 9 months time, or however the system works over the 9 months. But I just feel like, all of the extra shit, you know, creates a bunch of bullshit, and you really don't get a real sense of understanding of what really should be what. Less bills, less sanctioning fees. These are facts. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, if boxing actually really took that stance and really wanted to be serious about it, I think that it would only benefit the sport in the long run. Because imagine how many great fights would have to be highlighted from so many individuals who are top tier talented, who have to climb from the top 10. And you pretty much dispose of all of the inflated egos of having pearl belts, Mayan belts, pink belts, jazz belts, diamond belts, fucking rhinestone belts, uh uh fucking intercontinental belts, continental belts, fucking WBA gold intercontinental, fucking WBA gold regular super, you know what I'm saying, super duper, you know what I'm saying, ultra turbo, you know what I'm saying, he's on fire, the WBC, he's on fire belt, you know what I'm saying. You just get rid of all of that shit. All of that shit is just silly willy. Absolutely. And if that's why, of course, they're not willing to do that. And that's why at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, boxing needs to fall under a commission. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it needs to fall under, boxing needs to have a commission, man. It needs to be governed, like, in the sense to where it's like the four sanctioning bodies can't operate with independent rule. It has to operate with more structure. Like I said, you can have the four belts all you want, but all I'm saying in the sense of, if you're going to have them shits, have them to where they all, have a mandatory understanding that, look, man, if it come down to these titles, you know what I'm saying, we have to force the issue. Like we got all of these freaking belts and stuff like that, and it's enough to make your head spin. And I would ask anybody here, you know, if you're a casual fan and you're coming in to watch the sport of boxing, how can you necessarily hang on if the first night you watch a fight, and you say for instance, you catch a PBC bout, and let's say back during the time where Terrence Crawford, of course, well, Terrence Crawford still is the WBO 147 champion, but during the time where they had Manny Pacquiao's regular belt up there, showing all the PBC's champion, but didn't show Terrence Crawford. Or for instance, if you go watch if you watch Josh fucking, if you watch for instance Tiafimo at 135 pounds or any of that, like if you're a fight fan and you're coming in to that, literally fuck that, from 2018 to now, if you were a fight fan coming into this shit, what type of solidarity mentally are you going to have when it comes to watching events, or comes to an understanding of who you think is a real dog or a real champion? Because if it came down to it, and Manny Pacquiao is an amazing fighter, take nothing away from him. Salute to the champ. Definitely one of the GOATs. But if you're looking at it, you thinking Manny Pacquiao is the champion, even though Manny Pacquiao is a good fighter to look towards as greatness when it comes to, you know, embodying the sport. But think about it like this: if it wasn't Manny Pacquiao or whoever the fuck it was, and you a fan and you watching that shit, and you like, yo, so and so and so and so is the champion, but then you like, nah, Bud the WBO 147 champ. These motherfuckers gonna be like, what? Bud Crawford ain't no champion at 147 pounds. I literally just saw on the screen Manny Pacquiao, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman. So how is Terrence Crawford a champion? Show me in what way is he a champion? If you're a casual fan and you coming in and watching this shit, boxing would fuck you off the rip. You would have to feel disrespected to the sport of boxing, because it wasn't the fans that lied to you. The sport lied to you off the rip. So it's just one confusing game of fuckery, man. Like that's why I fuck with the World Boxing Super Series, but only so many dudes is willing to get in it. And this is how I separate the men from the mice, by watching the World Boxing Super Series. And a lot of individuals, man, they don't hack it, or they can't hack it, or they're not willing to get in there and hack it. They're not willing to risk all of their titles. They're not willing to risk going in there against, you know, top 10 guys, you know, all fighting for, you know what I'm saying, the prestigious Muhammad Ali trophy. They're not willing to do that. So when I look at that shit, no matter what weight class they holding it on, whether it's fucking super bantam or whether it was 140 pounds at the time, and I think Cruiser was the other one. When wasn't it Cruiser when Andrew DeBeatty got sparked by Unner Doherty Coast? Sorry if I butchered his name, but shit, like after you watch the World Boxing Super Series, you get a clear cut idea of who's willing to go out there and fight you. We got to see a certain perspective and got a certain understanding from who was it? Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Ivan Baranchik went through the thing. Shit, we got to see, you know, Doherty Coast. Shit, I'll give Andrew Zabidi credit. He even tried to go through the thing. Shit, Turbo Terry tried to go through the thing. Like, it was a lot of dudes that tried to go through the World Boxing Super Series. But whatever the outcome was or what it wasn't, you could tell them niggas is really willing to fight. So I would love to see that on, you know, on more of a consistent basis with more weight classes, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, you know, in boxing, it's kind of hard to keep the lights on. You know what I'm saying? Mob, what's good, homie? Unfortunately, it's really kind of fucking hard to keep the lights on in boxing. Unfortunately, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Anui, you know what I'm saying? I was just talking about that, you know. Anui made his bones. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to, for people who didn't know who Naoya Anui was, you got a real good understanding during the World Boxing Super Series. You got to carry that shit when you left. Like, yo, I know this motherfucker right here will fight anybody. And the people that he bodying is world champion. So I'm going to pay attention to the body work of the nigga who bodying world champions. You know what I'm saying? And not afraid to go through that gauntlet. I feel like a gauntlet kind of exposes, you know what I'm saying, the genetic makeup of whatever fighter that is. Given in the sense to when you think about it, it's like, yo, This is some winner takes all, mano y mano yo. You know what I'm saying? We about to, yo, shit about to get real type shit. And that's what the game need, man. I'm with all that shit. I feel like a lot of champions should be motherfucking stripped. I feel like, you know, a lot of champions, if they're not willing to go through, you know, a tournament atmosphere, I feel like they should be stripped. I feel like this. I feel like if you're a belt holder in 100, in whatever weight class, if you're a belt holder, especially if two, okay, let's say like this. If we got two unifieds, or we got one sitting on every corner, mandatory obligations taken care of. At the end of that fucking year, it should be a fucking straight four-way tournament or a two-way tournament to decide who is going to become undisputed in that class and continue ushering those who are ranked number one and on down in the positions to follow suit and move right forward. It would make more sense. That way you're not tying up 2-3 years at a fucking time. Motherfuckers are fighting and not fighting at all. That way you're not tying up divisions. That way promotional outfits can't sit up there and say promotional outfits can't hinder progress. If there could be some way to where unified belt holders or all champions who at the end of that year, once you fight your mandatory, you get them out the way, you ain't got nothing going on, bro. It's time to unify them shits. You got to unify them shits within the end of the year. Fuck it. Something got to give, man. And all I'm, you know, and the criticism or the ideas that's lended here, motherfuckers ain't going to lend a fucking ear to. But it's more sensible than anything boxing has put together in the fucking past fucking how many years? How is it this whole, how is it that a collective of individuals who have no skin in the game when it comes to the sport can come up with ideas to make the sport and the champions and the championships more definitive in their understanding and their role as champion, and they'll be granted more respect with the shit. Like how hard is it that we can come up with this shit or come up with a thought and bring forward a thought that would lend, you know what I'm saying, some form of succession to, you know what I'm saying, to the betterment and the movement of the sport of boxing, man. Like, how fucking hard is it? Like, it shouldn't be that fucking hard, man. That's why I don't get it. At the end of the day, all we doing is watching guys sit home and do this. Look nice, don't it? The fuck out of here, man. The fuck out of here. I'm not here to watch dudes polish belts and hold belts all day and consistently call themselves the best, because one thing about people calling themselves the best too, gang, like, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I don't give a fuck to hear that shit. Like, I don't care about you calling yourself the best if you ain't cleaned out your fucking division. I don't give a fuck if you went up to 168 and was undisputed, but you never try to go undisputed in any other weight class, but you just magically go to the weakest weight class in boxing. I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. Like, if you're not moving shit and you're fighting a whole bunch of insignificant motherfuckers, I, for one, really don't have much to say to you. I don't. Or what to say about you anymore. Because, like I'm telling you, I'm not going to let this shit stress me out anymore. I refuse to. I say that I refuse to let the sport of boxing stress me out. Its algorithms, how much work I put into it, how many hours I spend fucking burning my eyes out editing. I refuse to become a slave to a sport that gives me nothing back. And in a way, it kind of like sickly speaking, it kind of makes you, you know what I'm saying, a robot, or feel like you a slave to it in a sense because you love it and you dedicate so much time to it. Me, I got a little bit more skin in the game, but still, like, I just refuse, man. Like, boxing has stressed me out more than any relationship I've ever had. That's a fucking problem. The perfect salute, Dolomite. Said the perfect scenario would be getting the undisputed champion in each division, then having the undisputed versus undisputed champion. Then you'll know who's real pound for pound. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Man, I'm for all of that shit, man. I just think that, you know, regardless of whatever four belt era, whatever the fuck they doing right now, you gotta make this shit definitive, bro. Like, we need some solidarity we need some solidarity in the sport, man. And rightfully so. I just don't think that we ever getting it. And for real, we're watching, and honestly, like I don't want nobody to get this shit twisted because I'm literally about to have something pop. Like I'm literally about to release something, hit a kill switch as soon as I jump off this joint and drop something. But I I I don't want anybody to think or feel like, you know, they happy that Premier Boxing Champions is failing. Because that's one less sanctioning body, that's one less, you know, that's one more event taken off the table, that's one more promotional outfit that, you know, we watching, you know what I'm saying, crash and burn, all due to their own, you know, selfish, you know what I'm saying, ways and they gluttonous tactics. I don't want to see Premier Boxing Champions crash and burn. I actually want to see them flourish. I actually want to see them do well, and I want to see all of these promotional outfits do well because I want to see boxing continue to, you know what I'm saying, grab bigger audiences and have, you know, more eyes on the sport. So if anybody think that I'm happy that they crashed and burned because I say, hey, I called this shit or whatever, no, I'm not necessarily happy for it. Now, for all of the dickheads that, you know, we got to deal with in this shit, yeah, fuck them motherfuckers. Yeah, I like, yeah, like I rub that shit in the motherfuckers' faces like shit. But as far as, you know, the sport itself is concerned, like, nah, I'm not happy to see nobody lose. Like, I'm not happy to see, you know, a promotional outfit fall apart and one less, you know what I'm saying, group of boxing events is put on because believe it or not, I do enjoy watching Premier Boxing Champions. I do. I do enjoy watching some of the events. I just feel like, you know, they've got so caught up in them that they didn't realize at some point that, you know, the other side was going to catch up to them. And the other side was going to get a hold of them. And the other side was going to make, you know, how do I put it? Make them suffer in the boxing ring and take all of the things that they try to use for leverage eventually because you can't hold it on one side forever. You know, that, like I said, mandatory is the only thing that makes sense in boxing. And if the mandatory consistently does not make sense, then what the fuck does make sense in boxing? You know what I'm saying? That's just it. They want the money, not respect. Some of these promotions and promoters just like customers, just like their customers. Case in point, Smellerby. Yeah, man. He's like his moves as of late have like genuinely disgusted me too, Mr. T, because if you look at it like, yo, you can clearly see that they're losing. You can clearly see that they're losing. And you can clearly see that they're hurting. And a lot of you can really see that they're hurting because for a group of individuals who always consider themselves the A side, who always have respectful things to say about any fighter, every fighter, no matter what promotional outfit or whatever walk of life they were in, they always, you know what I'm saying, bigged up and have respectful things to say. Now we're talking about smacking promoters, and now, you know what I'm saying, we down in a fighter that's currently operating in his prime. Whether I dislike, you know, the opponents that he picks, or whether you dislike the opponents that he picked, this is a fighter that's operating in his prime, and he's actually doing his motherfucking thing. So it's like, for me, it's just like, yo, they showing their hand that they losing, bruh. And I've been punishing Leonard Ellerbe on Twitter. I put that shit, yo, mark my word. If y'all on Twitter, y'all would know that I've been punishing the fuck out of Leonard Ellerbe on Twitter. Javante, Tank Davis, all of them. Because there's a method to my madness. It's like I'm tired of the dudes who really are doing the worst talking about they're doing the best. It's a sick cycle. It's like, yo, it's like the kid who comes in fucking last every fucking time and he's not getting any fucking better at whatever he's doing, but you constantly give him a medal. That's Premier Boxing Champions. Like, it's that kid that constantly screws up. It's that kid that constantly fucking overbakes and oversaturates all of the good fights that they're never made because they have a couple of casual pieces that might be entertaining to, you know what I'm saying, the fans' naked eye. And you oversaturate it and you make it like, you know, it's like okay, you guys are fucking, you like, you're a sirloin, but this is wagyu right here, like, or wagyu, however the fuck they call that Japanese cow shit. Like, they try to act like they're just like a premium cut, and anybody that mentions them or whatever, their egos just get inflated and they talk about it in the sense like, yo, we don't need that individual. Blase, blase, blah. But we giving the B side 100,000 and we giving our so-called biggest star roughly, he's getting $1 million and a percentage of a fucking 40,000 pay-per-view sold pay-per-view. Like, where the fuck do they do that at? And who is going to let these dudes consistently self-evaluate or proclaim to themselves that they really moving like that? Get the fuck out of here, dude. The USA states governing bodies are the problem. With no centralized body, you have no structure. The UK system is roundly good, having a national UK, Commonwealth, European, world level. Like, yeah, man, I've tried to state these things when it comes to the sport, try to bring a collective, try to, operate more of a collective when it comes to boxing. But let's face it, man, this is a black glove, black mask sport. Like, straight up. It's a ski mask and black leather gloves type sport where literally, crooks thrive, and the true criticism, is dead. Like, you don't get the, like, I feel like, there's a Larry, like a Larry Merchant kind of aspect missing to the sport that should be shouted out every time that, what I'm saying, on the megaphones, in front of the cameras, when people are at events and boxing and stuff like that, but people just don't want to genuinely ask the questions. And then you get guys that you're fans of, that you're in there, that are now in the position to ask these questions, and they won't do it. And it's for preservation of relationships, some weird shit like that. But me, I'm not a fan of it at all. I don't understand it, and I just, it's cowardice. Leonard Ellerbe is the best dressed man in boxing. With that being said, but he's the best dressed, but he's fucking the worst. He's the most toxic fucking promoter to is he a fucking promoter? Do they promote? Like, they I don't know. I'm not gonna sit up there and say, like, guys that are in a business that I've never run, are all bad in what they do, but they can't be good at it. Because if I was to, try to use a model for what I would consider good promotion and what I consider bad promotion, I mean, shit, there's something, I mean, there's bad and then there's worse, right? So I would have to say they're worse, right? Show them Willie Waller. They felt it with Tank versus Cruz. They'll feel it with Ortiz versus Martin and Thurman. Yo, like, don't even get me started on that. Like, it's like, yo, there should be a megaphone in boxing, like, all over the internet right now that should be fucking, like, wanting to hang the individuals who ever thought it was okay to put Charles Martin and goddamn and the old fucking 55-year-old Cuban on pay-per-view. I just really like, and like, come on now, we just watched fucking Thurman's finally coming back after the body shot, and he's fighting Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios isn't a 147-pound fighter. Mario Barrios, I do believe, moved up from like feather in the beginning of his career to 140 pounds. And we just saw what the so-called Tank did to him. Like, give me a break. And these are the things that they're going to charge you and I and the world, what, $70, $80, $90 for? Boxing isn't like, boxing isn't like a Pinot Grigio, like a aged Pinot Grigio, or boxing isn't like an aged red wine, or boxing isn't like an aged red wine, and you know what I'm saying, and having that shit with some French Gruyere or anything like that, and some fucking fruit. Boxing is none of the above. Boxing doesn't yell Napa Valley when it comes to, I'd say it's rarity when it comes to, its form and what it's birthed from. I would say boxing more or less resin with like a can of Spam. Say boxing more or less is like bologna in the package where you're pulling off the red shit on the outside. I would say boxing is more like that, that Baltimore Oreo pack of hot dogs that nobody likes to eat, but you remember as a kid. I would have to say boxing is more like that boiled hot dog that you ate as a kid, that you never knew how much you hated until you got older and realized boiled hot dogs are fucking ass. Like, boxing is probably the hot dog water. Basically, what I'm saying is, boxing isn't a cream of the crop sport to where it's like, yo, we can have these select bouts especially a Thurman and a Thurman and a Barrios, and we can put that shit on and charge the people $80 or $90 and expect people to run and go flock to that. Like boxing is already a dying sport, but then you add elements to it, which shows me that you're not a smart promoter. It just shows me the stupidity, and it shows me the stranglehold that Uncle Sam's financial fucking hands are wrapped around your fucking neck right now, and you're in a financial stranglehold. So to pay a guy like Keith Thurman and to keep a guy like Mario Barrios on par with what you paid him before, you got to pay these motherfuckers in the span of pay-per-view and hope whatever comes back on pay-per-view, you're going to be able to pay these gentlemen with. Because my thing is, okay, they're going on pay-per-view, but what the fuck is their guarantees? And then if you look at their guarantees, why the fuck are they still there? Because I guarantee I guarantee you that Keith Thurman's guarantee is going to be about $750K, anywhere between $400K to $700K, and they're going to try to base that off the back of, because if Tank Davis just made $1 million and 60% of the pay-per-view, Keith Thurman's going to get 60% of the pay-per-view, and Barrios is going to get the 40. So knowing that shit, how much is Keith Thurman going to make? How much is Keith Thurman going to make? And how much is Mario Barrios going to make? And ho, here's an even bigger fucking punchline. How much is goddamn Luis Ortiz going to make on a guarantee? And how much is fucking Charles Martin going to make on a guarantee on their so-called heavyweight pay-per-view? That shit doesn't even make pay-per-view. Like that is worse than Chisora versus Parker. And Chisora versus Parker ain't bad. It ain't bad at all. But what I'm saying is, when you name drop it, what poster you gonna put up? Where the fuck you gonna hang the posters for anybody to know who is fighting? You might as well hang them shit somewhere way over in the UK. Because ain't nobody on American soil, I promise you this, outside of that nigga mama, ain't nobody on American soil gonna know who the fuck Luis Ortiz and goddamn Charles Martin are and who they fighting. Other than, you know what I'm saying, a majority of, the fucking, the European boxing fans and fucking real hardcore boxing fans in America. Nobody knows who these guys are. So how the hell are you even gonna have the audacity to put them on pay-per-view? It makes zero fucking sense. 0 cents to throw those individuals on pay-per-view and to act like you are going to move a decibel of a needle. Bro, the nerve. That's how you know there is no money over there. Why is Adrian Broner talking the way Adrian Broner talking right now? You know, I know, we know, but they too stupid. Man, but yo, it's a rack of stupid motherfuckers out this joint like black fisting it and shit. Dumb as a motherfucker. Dumb as a motherfucker. They ain't making no money. Fucking crazy, man. Think none of these boxing promotions isn't taking advantage of YouTube like they could. We could have YouTube version of Tuesday Night Fights and the Young Fighters build exposure worldwide. Bruh, you could run it straight. You could start your own boxing matches and run them bitches on you. That's where them motherfuckers is headed. I promise you. I promise you, Dolly. That's where they headed. The PBC is headed to boxing on YouTube. And that ain't a bad idea. I'm just saying. But like some free market fights just garner all of their viewership and their money based off of the monetization. Yeah. And like for real, I don't even know why I'm giving niggas ideas. Cause I could be like, yo, you can have a broadcaster sit in front of the joint. You could really run a boxing shit off of YouTube. Had the broadcasters collecting the super chats and shit like that as they sit in front of the motherfucking people and shit and they talk to the loud. Had a boxing match going on and had that joint bow picture in picture set up, have a little boxing ring with some setup ass motherfucking some setup mics and some setup cameras in 4K, and you can run a motherfucking boxing event. You ain't got to have a person in that motherfucker and just do virtual boxing events, and motherfucking the world will pay attention to them shits. You can tastefully get that done. Now, you know what I'm saying? I ain't fantasizing or imagining it. Just basing it off the conversation. I'm just saying, but there is a way you could get that done. But for the way these guys are working right now, that could be in their future. Because yo, none of these motherfucking boxers take advantage of take advantage of goddamn social media besides Ryan Garcia. And when he on there, he acts like a straight bitch. Sitting in pajamas, crying about biting his tongue, crying about the way motherfuckers is getting on him by how he chewing his gum. Literally, I am not making this shit up. I am speaking 100% truth here and what I'm saying right now. Fucking crying about all of this shit. Just crying. Crying about how motherfuckers say he pull out of every fight. So clearly that motherfucker is listening. Clearly he's listening. And I guarantee they listen to every single one of them. Because believe it or not, boxing is this fucking big. It's this big, man. And they think it's so much bigger than what it really is. And it's truly unfortunate. I almost think it is a fucking gaffe. Hat. I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say anymore. It's not it's not complicating at all. Rachel, salute. It's not complicating at all to see exactly for what it really is. Yo, motherfuckers is dead ass broke. So they sliding you busted ass Charles Martin, Luis Ortiz, old ass, fucking bringing you fucking I'm burning, throw the perm in, Keith Thurman. I'm burning, throw the perm in, Keith Thurman. Goddamn. Hey, goddamn. What the fuck is the dude with the super swole up face and he just fought Batiari and shit and he swole them all up. Oh yeah, Mario Barrios. Crying Garcia. That's a fucking great name. That is a great name. Jeez. They taking Wilder versus Ruiz in Mexico City pay-per-view. Bro, Wilder might not even fight again. And honestly, you know what I'm saying? For Deontay Wilder to fight like Andy Ruiz, that's bad because Andy Ruiz can only back him up. He only gonna back him up and force him to fight off the back foot and throw hooks on him. I think Ruiz will beat Wilder too. Unless Wilder can catch him with a stiff one, but Andy good with that hooking that, you know what I'm saying? He'll hook that high guard on you real quick. So, like, yo, that's probably going to be a fucking summer blockbuster to try to offer Deontay Wilder in some kind of way, offer all of his fucking Fugazi title defenses. Even though towards the end of the thing, I was starting to feel like, Deontay Wilder was starting to be somewhat of a respectable figure. But at this point, this dude. Ollie, what's up, sweetheart? It's like, yo, it's like, I'm just like I'm really shocked. Because I never believed that I would come to the day. I never thought that I would see the day that boxing would try to sell y'all some shit like this. I never thought I would see it, but since we're here, I just like, fuck, man. That's just crazy. It's really fucking crazy. Yeah, for real, sweetheart. I got Ruiz getting on him, man. I got Ruiz putting him on that back foot and putting that thing on him for real. The motherfucking hooks coming down real steady. And I think, with Eddie Reynoso, I think he brings a little something. He brings a little seasoning to the camp. Not saying he bring much, but yeah, he definitely brings something else. I just think that Andy Ruiz, he just got to go back to fighting big. Like, don't fight small. You know what I'm saying? Just terrorize motherfuckers with those hooks, man, and make them pay. Make them pay. But man, look, man, I'm about to get out of here, guys. Fortunate we could do this for an hour today. Miss the fuck out of y'all. Hopefully, this thing gets better, man, because clearly, you gotta steal your viewership back. And unfortunately, this is a practice that is gonna have to be spoken on a lot because boxing is taking clear advantage of all of you guys. It's taking advantage of me. It's taking advantage of you. It's taking advantage of all the fans. And I don't really feel like you guys are getting your money's worth. And I just want to see everybody, get to enjoy the sport. And I don't want to see the sport get put in a position like Premier Boxing Champions in their financial fucking stranglehold that they have on these shitty pay-per-views. I don't want to see you guys get the Keith Thurmans versus Barrios and then motherfuckers try to charge you $90 for it. But the beauty of all of that is you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay at all. So, keep your money and Don't spend your money. I don't care if it's Canelo or anybody that you like. Don't spend your money until you get the fucking fight that you know you've been longing for, you've been wanting to see. As far as everything else, light that shit up. I'm sure y'all got fucking fire sticks and every fucking thing else. Use them. If you fucking get a VPN and motherfucking rock out, man. I'm sorry if anybody's offended by that last statement I just said, but all I can be is honest with the situation. And oh yeah, when I get off here, I already got a video finished on Tank Davis and shit like that. So I'm about to drop a video for y'all too. As we always say at the end of this shit, it costs you nothing. Pay a nigga no mind. Respect.